thing in your nightmare, that thing that's holding you back, that thing that's dragging you down, that thing is you. You will not outwork me.
And the whole gig is just a giant hustle. That's all it is. Life is just a hustle. That's all life is. One giant hustle. All right, another afternoon at the shop. So I got the mounting brackets in the mail today. These are going to be part number 71552. If it will focus. 71552. That's going to be the part numbers for these mounting brackets that I'm using. Like I said, I ran 2 short on the last one, so these come in a whole box of 10 of these. These are what your Zeus is going and everything. So I've got the other 2 springs to put on this, or actually, no. Yeah, actually, I needed to order, or I got to see if I got more springs at the house. So we're not going to have all the springs this afternoon, but that's no big deal. They take a second to pop on. So we're going to pop on these other 2 Zeus tabs, and then we're going to get the springs in these, and then get the Zeuses in the hood, get the hood put on the car, probably go ahead and knock this bracket out on this front bumper is the plan, and take care of whatever changes we're going to make to our Procharger inlet. Now, currently, it's the tube that, you know, the last hood, there was a hole cut in the hood to let fresh air into the Procharger. I don't know if I want to do that to this hood or not. Kind of thinking about staying like a very slick look without that hole cut in the hood. And I'm kind of thinking about cutting my actual inlet back so that it takes air in basically under the hood. Now we have to have that there because the way the tires rotate like this, so that would throw rocks up into the Procharger inlet if we didn't have this piece on here. So if you're going forward, your tires are going like this, that means your rocks are throwing like that. And my Procharger is a reverse one on the backside, and it would literally shoot rocks straight into the inlet. So that's why we had this, where it took fresh air in from above the hood. So either way, let's get these pieces mounted on. Let's get our Zeuses done in our hood, the ones we can do. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to actually do that one without either cutting that down. I guess I can take that piece off. Man, I got some decisions to make. All right, so it's never ending. I'm having to change all the springs and move them around. So they're designed to hit these holes right here on these brackets. So when you buy these brackets, these are laid out for different size springs, different size Zeuses. So these spread right here is for one Zeus, and then this spring is for that matching one. These are smaller. This is the holes for the big Zeuses so that the rivets through the hood will clear and fall inside of them. This is the holes for the springs. The problem is that I don't want my Zeuses turned like that. So first off, the ones over here on this side, the Zeuses would be faced like this with the point inwards, okay? See that? To clear them holes right there, it would be faced inwards. So that means on this side, you got to do it like that, okay? But there's no holes, okay? They'd be faced like that. So both of your sides would be faced like that, which would look like complete dog crap. Then up here, the same ordeal. You'd have one faced like this, and then the other one faced the exact same way, versus they need to be symmetrical. So they need to be flipped. So these tabs are not left and right oriented. They're just all identical universal tabs kind of. So for laying out hoods, you're gonna have to move some stuff. Now on mine, I don't want my Zeuses at a 45. So a lot of people will put their Zeuses like this, okay? Yeah, we got the toes out, we're in flip-flops. So a lot of people will put their Zeuses like that. I don't want mine like that. I want mine straight like this with the edge of the hood. That's how I want mine. That, when you do it like this, that puts your hole for your rivet closer to the edge, weakening it. Now this rivet actually doesn't hold anything. You technically, as a lot of people know, can put this Zeus in there and the hood will stay on perfectly fine because the Zeus is locking to the spring, clamping everything together. But I just don't want mine to the edge like that where they vibrate and then they tear up because there's no strength. I want my stuff straight, at least on the sides. Going up the sides, I want the rivets in line with the fenders. I don't want them all cocked at a 45. So in order to do that on these, I have to move the spring because I need these little holes. So this is supposed to be the holes for my spring from my size Zeus's, but that also is the exact, as you can see right there, holes for if you run a Zeus straight, it would fall on that. So you can't put your spring in these holes. Your spring would need to go in these, but your spring can't go in these because your rivet is going to not fit. You'd have to use backing plates and all that. So I need my spring in this orientation. I just need holes to be drilled. Now I could have bought a smaller spring. That probably would have worked fine, but I didn't know all this. That's the reason why I'm filming it. So I am moving my holes where we have to basically double up on the springs like this. So there is where the holes are for the little springs. There's where the holes are for the big springs. So all I've done is drilled the spring out, flipped it, used it as a template, and then re-drilled it where the holes are a wider spread so I can put the spring back on. Now that allows me to take them holes that are already there and open them holes up so that all of my Zeus's will be in a straight line. So I'm gonna go through here and redo all these. I just ran to the house and grabbed another container of rivets, the longer ones to do this with, and grabbed the hole saw to be able to cut that in the hood tonight. And of course forgot the 2 springs I need back there. Never freaking ending. But I can go ahead and drill the holes back there using one of these springs as mock-up. That way, literally all I'll have to do is just rivet on the springs real fast. It's super easy, and I still don't have the trim ring for that because I didn't want to make a bunch of noise and waste a bunch of time at the house getting it out of the other hood this afternoon. So we'll cut the hole in the hood and all that, and all we'll have to do is later attach the springs and drill the holes and attach the actual trim ring to that. Let's get it drilled. All right, so we've turned all of our springs around, including all the fronts, everything. We're putting everything straight. All my Zeus's are going straight around the side. So now what I can do is I can actually use this as a template, because as long as I line up that hole right there, that's gonna put me where my other hole should be, and as long as I line up the edge right there pretty much, or vice versa. So we can come over here to our hood, okay, and we can put it like this. All right, center that pretty much, get that all where it's looking straight down the side of that, and then we can use this as a pallet to drill our holes. So let's drill all of our holes in our hood. Now to help you a little bit more, line all this up, especially if you're doing it by yourself. For me, a 13mm and 1/4 inch drive is the same exact size. Well, not if you let it fall all the way through. It's the same exact size as that hole. This is how I'm gonna do it. I've got a rag to hold it up so that that little thing don't, because if that thing will wiggle where it's between the socket, the ratchet and the socket. So I've just put a rag down also to help not scratch the hood, since we just waxed this thing last night. Lay the socket in there like that. I got my middle finger kind of holding the socket up just a little bit. Eyeball right there, and then we're just gonna mark it. So I'm not gonna sit here and put a bunch of pressure drilling it like that, and we're gonna move on to the next one. Slide your towel down, ratchet back through your hole. This hole, actually, I messed up on. This hole is a little bigger than it's supposed to be, so we will freehand this hole. The hole in the hood itself, I drilled that hole bigger than the other holes the other week by mistake. Do this one. All we're doing is just marking the paint. And yeah, I just buffed this hood last night, and you can already see how bad it is. Then we'll come back now with everything out of our way, and we'll drill these all the way through. So I'm gonna finish all the other ones out. Now, of course, not only earlier did we start this video out and I forgot the hole saw, then I needed longer rivets. I had to go to the house. Now we've got all of our Zeus buttons installed in our hood, but I'm too short. Guess where 2 are? At the house. So it's almost like a warning sign not to move forward, because nothing is really going 100% correct. I'm having to redo stuff. But we're gonna keep on trucking, we're gonna keep on moving forward, fingers crossed that nothing serious happens. Because so far it's just, we're lacking stuff, but it almost feels like a warning sign. So what we gotta do now is go through here, open up all of these holes. So even these right here, we gotta open these holes up big enough so that your rivet on the bottom side of your hood, the piece that sticks through, okay, right here, this piece right here that sticks through, that has to sit down in something so that this end of this rivet is not sitting on top of this mounting flange. So that's the reason why you got to have the spring in a different orientation than the actual quarter turn fastener, because you want the rivet to fall down through a hole. So if this was the rivet on the bottom side of your hood sticking out, then when you go to mount this thing up, you know, it's supposed to go like that where it clears through there. Whereas right now, if it was perfect, it would barely go through because this is a 1/8 rivet, but being it's all pulled up tight and smushed out, it would never go through. So we've got to open these holes up the same size as these are, because this is what this hole is designed for, is to clear this rivet. So let's open all these up to match this, then we should be able to sit our hood on. All right, there she goes. She's finally got a hood back on her. Now all of them went down besides that one right there, so it needs a little bit of adjustment. I'm gonna show you just in case you don't know. They do make a special tool. I'll show you real fast. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure, let's see here, let's make sure these holes up here, yeah, they look like they'll line up. That one looks like it'll go through. That one will go through perfectly fine. So we'll be able to put our Zeuses on that one, lock them in, put our 2 springs back there, lock it in, and we'll be good to go. Man, I really don't know, y'all, if I should cut a hole in that hood. Man, maybe I'm gonna leave it alone. Maybe I'm not gonna cut it tonight. Maybe I'm gonna go ahead and put this hood, or this video out for doing the Zeuses. Y'all leave in the comments right now, should I cut a hole in that, or should I make the Procharger pull its air in from the engine bay? Now my engine bay is pretty wide open. It's not like it's sealed up like a street car. But do you think I should cut the hole in this hood, or should I just not cut a hole and let it pull its air in? I have an idea on how I want to do it. If I'm gonna pull it in, basically I just need to know what y'all think. Should we pull the air from the hood or pull it in from the engine bay? Let me go ahead and drop that comment right now. Let me take this hood back off, and then let me explain to you the springs so you make sure you understand. Right, so first things is each Zeus has a reach. That's gonna be from the bottom side of this to where that spring locks in through there, right there in that hole. Okay, that's gonna be the reach that it can reach through the material. You can buy different size buttons. This is what I suck at, is always getting this right. Normally I get them wrong and I have to squish the spring in. So they make a tool. I'll go ahead and put a picture up of it right here. That actually does this for you, but a lot of us poor folks, we use pliers. Now what you have to do is, I'll show you on these up here because they're gonna be the easiest, is you have to bend that spring. As you can see, that spring is no longer straight. So it used to be straight from here to here, but now it's bent. So what I do is take my pliers, basically grab it like this, and I squeeze it so that it squishes that spring in. That shortens up my reach that my Zeus has to go down to reach to touch the spring. Both of these front ones are having trouble reaching. I don't know why only the front ones, if it's the angle or not, because that thing is pulled up pretty tight, but I'm gonna pull them up tighter. I really could definitely go for a little bit longer of a reach on a button. So I have to remember that if I ever want to change these out, is to put longer ones on. The tool is just a tool that I don't want to spend the money on, to be quite honest. So I'm gonna tighten these springs up with this tool and shorten them the distance. Okay, like these down here on this one, look at that, they are on the freaking metal. I squished them, I squished the actual spring part so that they were on the metal. So before I installed the spring, I actually went and squished this side, and that's probably what I'm actually about to do now, is try to squish the spring side since I've already bent the center. And also, if you don't have this perfectly center, then sometimes your Zeus don't go straight down and hit it and turn. So if you have this off or crooked, sometimes you have to lean your Zeus a little bit like this to get it to lock in. Now that one's pretty, it's off a little bit. You can see the hole, the original hole. So we are over this way just a little bit. So that very well could be it on this front one, whereas these are pretty straight in line. So that it could be a combination of we just didn't hit our point dead on, you know, and B, it probably needs to be tightened up some. Like this one went in and this one's pretty straight, but it still had trouble. So I'm gonna tighten up both of these front ones, pull this spring a little tighter, and then we'll put it back on and see what we got. And for right now, with my piece, I have just simply loosened it up and just rolled it out to the side so I can get the hood on. And I'll wait for y'all's feedback on that before I cut that hole and see what y'all think. Basically, if we're gonna cut it, I think we're gonna either 45 cut it like this, okay? Like from that weld point up, or we will circle cut this kind of. We'll leave just a little bit back here and we'll put a little cushion underneath. We'll glue a piece of aluminum underneath the hood so that when it's going down track and the air's pushing down on the hood, it doesn't crack our fiberglass, so that this edge right here actually touches a piece of aluminum on the hood. But that way the air can come in from the front. So we'll pie cut it or whatever so that it pulls in from the front basically. And I can put a screen over it. I have a screen that I can customize. Just haven't done it yet, so screen's not a problem or anything like that. I just need to know what y'all think about pulling air out of the engine bay. The headers are right there, so it gets warm in here, but I don't know for this horsepower level. I mean, we're definitely not even maxed out it, so it's not like we're hunting numbers right now. So we really probably should just roll with it. But I do know that hot air, Kevin with TKM was even explaining to me on the dyno that the I think the IATs are the #1 killer of engines. People don't pay attention to IATs, and then that's what kills parts and kills engines. So that's pulling hot air in. So I don't know if I should do it. When we're going though down the track, obviously a lot of air is funneling through here, so you would think it would be okay, but let me know what y'all think. All right, so we got them all on this time. Still a little tight. We actually broke that one, I think, so I already have to replace that one because it's still too tight and I was trying to force it. So it's important, if you can do your math on the thickness of your hood, thickness of your bracket, thickness of the spring and all that, and get the correct reach, that's important. Or buy you a variety pack if you're like me and too lazy to do it, don't want to do it. That way when you're fitting these, you can kind of fit which one feels better, or order your tool that adjusts your spring, or be ready to adjust with the pliers. So I'm gonna pull this thing off again and tighten these couple springs up again. These back there I tightened up extremely tight and squished them really good, and they fit amazing. So I think I need to do all of these the same way, like completely squish the spring side of them. So let me take this back off again. But she's looking good. Man, it looks good without that hole, but I really feel like we need to cut it so we're pulling cold air in. So on that one I said we broke, that's what we did, is broke one of the little pull pieces off from just straight up too much pressure. So when you're putting these on, if you have too much pressure, you can crack the end off of them. Now I think you're supposed to be able to change just the buttons out. I'm gonna have to look that up when I get home tonight, but I can never get them to freaking change in and out perfectly. I don't know. I'll look it up when I get home tonight and see. And I know you can also order just these pull pieces, these centers that are longer. So there's got to be a correct way to do it. I just got to figure it out. I can't tell y'all in this video because I don't know yet. I'm gonna tighten these springs up real fast though. All right, so that's gonna be a wrap for tonight. We got the hood on. I've got some homework to do. I've got to go home, research how to change out these buttons. Should be simple. I've just never done it. Simple Google should pull it right up, or even YouTube. I don't know if anybody has a video on it. If not, I'll include it in my next video for y'all. Only thing I got left is I've got to paint the trim for the quarter still, get that put on, and figure out what about the hole in the hood. And then I still got to change out that bracket for that front bumper. So my front bumper is still not back on. It's laying here on the paint stand because I have to redo that bracket. But man, she's got a hood again, and it looks like she's got a vinyl top. Man, I'm digging this car. I'm digging this car more and more. I fall in love with it more and more, over and over and over. Go ahead and smash that like button for me if this helped you out, or if you liked the video. Hopefully you did. And maybe you'll stick around. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Hope y'all have a good week. Thanks, y'all.